Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kaustubha. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show, and welcome to Walk on Wednesday. Walk on Wednesday is the one day of the week. For the first 5 or 10 minutes, we take one of our people that we love from our audience, and we introduce them to the community. And I have a special guest today, formerly known as Marco, now Gopal Chandra Prabhu. You did get a great name, Gopal, I want to say. And his wife is also listening. They're regular Zoomers. And they always, I think they keep the picture off generally because they have 2 little babies. And, you know, they try to, like, I don't know, not make a whole thing at home and keep it quiet. But they live right down the road from me. And they used to come to my class in New York. Then they met. Where did you guys meet? On pilgrimage?
At the Shalimar.
The Shalimar Hotel.
The Shalimar Hotel.
Many a romance has originated in the Shalimar.
Wait, which one's the Shalimar? That's the one in Rishikesh?
The one in Mumbai.
Oh, the Shalimar. The one right across the... You met there?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That was the
Starting point.
The starting point. That was the pilgrimage, the mythical pilgrimage where we were in Puri with Raghunath Swami for 4 days.
That was a great one, and they met, and then both of them have been to India with me before that, I think, and Marco did teacher training. Marco's mother did teacher training with me, and then what do you call it? They got married, fell in love, got married, had a little beautiful baby, had another baby, just new baby, and then that was only 5 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago, and then I got this very serious phone call from Gopal Prabhu, and he was like, "I want to come over, and I want you to come over," because he lives right down the road from me. Like literally, I could ride my bike there quick, and it was a very serious phone call. And he says, you know, and they were both very, and you know, usually if a guy calls you up, you think he's going to have a marriage issues or health issues with the children or something like that. And he shared with me, like, he's got a lot of back pains going on. He didn't know what it was. And they went to the doctor and they found this growth in his liver, a big growth, and that spread to his lungs. And then he found out it was cancer. And he told me privately, and it's one of those things like people talk about community, and community is here to lift you when you're down, and you get lifted by community, and you lift others in community. And I was encouraging him. I said, you know, we're a community, you know, and we're here for you in any way you need support. And I think they were already very strict with their COVID precautions because they had the new baby. And so they were really sort of locked down. Even though they were close, I would ride my motorcycle over and I'd wave, we'd talk from a distance. But we never, I tried to keep a healthy distance, but now with the chemo that just started last week, it's even harder. So I'm calling you on the. I said, look, I want you to share everything with the community so we can find support for you. And last night, late last night, right before we got to go to bed, he said, "Yeah, I'm ready to share if you want." So welcome, Prabhu. We love you. I've been trying to be here with you. Also there's a thing in group prayer, and that's one thing. At the very least, which is something very mammoth, is group prayer, where we all can be connected for you. Our heart goes out to you. Every day I do my puja. I say prayers for you and your family and your children. So welcome, and you want to share how you're doing? I will say you look better. You look great.
I'm feeling all right. I needed time to process it before I could come out to the wider community and friends that we have. So I think one big thing I told you, I said I just need to start my treatment, and once I start my treatment, I'll at least have something that I have I'm holding on to and working with, the tools.
Sure.
But I will say that definitely, without a doubt, and I feel like I may be preaching to the choir here.
Preach to the choir. I need to be preached to right now, please.
It's difficult to speak, in front of you, Raghunath and Kaustubha. You two are the powerhouses of the Bhakti movement. But my spiritual life has definitely stepped up to the plate. Everything that you hear, where they say, like, if you do the work, and if you have your faith, and if you practice, and if you chant your rounds, and if you have a spiritual life, when you need it, it will present itself. And in the past, that has only come forward as lip service to me. Honestly, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? But not until I actually kind of drove myself head on into this dark night of the soul did I actually see it come to fruition. And it's completely true. You take that one step towards Krishna is going to take those 10,000 steps towards you, and it's verifiable.
Wow.
So
how are you going through a lot of pain right now?
The pain comes and goes. There's medication for that, and it keeps me pretty clear mentally, which is
nice.
Which is a big conversation I have with my doctors all the time. Kind of balancing. I don't want to be over medicated ever. Sure. I'm not a fan of that. They try to prescribe me things. I'm like, I don't want that. I don't want that. But the pain comes and goes, and I have medications that I take throughout the course of the day that keeps me pretty steady. Yeah.
We were joking right before the show that a couple of weeks ago I had that Makeover Monday where I said nothing goes in these ears that's not spiritual, and we were playing like Mahabharata Ramayana in headphones or listening to YouTube lectures, and Gopal Prabhu was saying, I'm doing that, but it's amazing how even, and want to share just what you were saying, that
Maya does not discriminate. I'm reading my books. At nighttime I'm listening to as many lectures as I can. I'm listening to I'm doing everything that Raghu, does on the Makeover Mondays, but I'm sitting there, and next I'm on Twitter scrolling.
It's
like
amazing.
Refreshing.
Maya's so strong. You're going through such like life and death circumstances, critical, and still Maya's like, no, let me try to enjoy the material world.
It's like, read this top 10 list.
You feel how are you, what are your realizations like?
I mean, I think that the biggest message I could put out there for anybody is don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. You know, you could step outside right now and you could get hit by a car and be dead, and you'll never know that you're dead. And in one way, that's a blessing, right? You're just kind of cut off. Or you could have the great, the great benefit of Parikshit, who is told you have exactly 7 days to settle your affairs.
Right.
You know, and I'm not unique. You know, there's so many people in the world that are, struggling with what I'm struggling, and I'm lucky because I'm still here. And I'm mobile, and I have my like facilities about me, but there's something about having that veil of Maya lifted for a moment and then closed, and then they're like, okay, well, 6 days, 6 months, 6 years, you have absolutely no idea, which can prove to be unsettling. So love, spend the time with your loved ones, develop those relationships, but also spend the time with yourself and develop that relationship. And all that other external stuff, how many likes you're getting, or how great you look in your outfits, or even your bank balance. I'm not saying don't try to have a nice bank balance, but the most important things are much closer to home, right? So don't waste your time. Develop relationships with your loved ones, and develop that relationship with yourself.
And how's your wife doing, Gopalji?
She's my best friend, man. She's my best friend, and admittedly it's hard for her, but at the same time, she's, I think of anyone I know, like, her life is this kind of life of devotion. The way she takes care of our daughters, the way she's been taking care of me. It's heartbreaking to witness, but inspiring to witness at the same time.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, it's one of those things where it's like you have every good reason to be bitter or be upset or be like, it's like the stakes are higher. It's like you're playing with $10,000 chips in the gambling table now. It's like you can get really Krishna conscious, or you can really get angry. And to see both of you guys taking this higher road is quite inspiring for myself alone. I'm sure what you're going through is forcing her. She's now playing with bigger chips. You know what I mean? With bigger chips, you can play with nickel chips and play poker, or you can play with $10,000 chips in Vegas. And so it's like everything that you're going through is forcing her to either, okay, I'm going to stand up very tall, or I'm going to get demolished. And to see you guys make these higher choices is inspiring the whole community. And it will inspire your children. Your children will have the benefit of you guys making that higher choice. It just happens. It just happens, like almost like psychically. And I just want you to know. Kaustubha, you want to say anything?
A few things is that, just first of all, that Gopal is really one of the most kind of gentle and kind people I've ever met. I've never heard him complain about anything. He doesn't complain. Been in this kind of really gentle, kind of way that he goes about life. I'm not so educated in kind of the care for people that are facing some serious disease or these kind of things. But from what I understand, there's different stages that people generally go through. There's the denial stage, and there's the anger stage, and all these. But I think that Gopal is passing through those stages, or bypassing those stages, largely because of his nature, which is so harmonious or conducive for devotional life.
He jumped right to the Krishna conscious stage.
Yeah, but that's the thing, for anyone, it's or let's say for most people, it's going to be scary. And that's where, the support of a community should really, we live in such a fractured world, for fractured families, fractured communities. But, we, and both Raghunath and I have reached out, we love Gopal, and just saying, we're here for you. And you know, people need assistance in different ways. Sometimes it's going to be financial. Sometimes it's going to be, you know, just in terms of the day to day, you know, taking care, you know, cooking and taking care of the kids or things like that.
A meal
People that are
train.
nearby, things like that. But, you know, but always for sure that spiritual support, you know, it's what we're meant to be providing for each other all the time. And particularly when the seriousness has been accelerated like this, you know, that, you know, and again, Raghunath and I both recently said, you know, Gopal, call me every day if you need to, you know, it's like, let's together, you know, keep our consciousness where it should be, you know, when there is so much distraction in this world. Let's keep your, let's help you through this difficult time. We're hopeful you're getting the best care, but we also are realistic that, you know, that you have an aggressive form of cancer. And so it's, you know, it has accelerated, you know, as you mentioned, we should always be aware that, accelerated or not, our life is passing by as fast. But now, you know, with this, you know, the seriousness, you know, is set in. But, you know, again, we're here for you, and that's what we do. We read these books together. We discuss it. We open up our hearts. We hear what we have to say. We share our thoughts. We support one another. So we're here to support you. We love you, and I you know, encourage the whole community. You know, I think this whole community is here for you. You know, even though you know, a lot of us only know each other virtually.
You're my best virtual friends in the world.
It's a fact. So in any case, that's all I can say is, you know, it's, you know, we're here for you, buddy. You know, and do reach out at any time.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kaustubha.
I'm your next door neighbor. That comes with I can be your babysitter. I can be your meal deliverer. I can, whatever you need. I'm here. I can clean your house. I can clean your house. Whatever you need. I'm not so clean myself, so I might not get it to the standard you like it. But
Thank you.
seriously, I offer myself whatever you need, Gopalji. And
Thank you.
and our message board here on Zoom is lighting up. You're getting prayers from all over the virtual universe right now, and I truthfully, I really think that's an important thing. Is we subsist on the care and the prayers, the group prayers and the intentions of everyone here. And he's going to be so close to our Wisdom of the Sages retreat, but has to keep that quarantine because the immune system is really, really delicate right now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
you can do a drive-by and just like wave out the window.
Yeah, right.
Well, we love
Maybe.
you, Prabhu. We love you, Prabhu.
Too.
And thank you, and love to Gaurangi Priya and little Lucy and little B. And
Thank you.
I'll try to stop by this week too.
Please do.
Okay.
Maybe I'll drive by.
Let's all do a Hare Krishna together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. To bring Krishna deeper, Radha and Krishna deeper into your heart, and that connection stronger and stronger and stronger. Prabhu. Now what am I supposed to do?
Chant the invocation mantras. Okay.
Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Priyeshvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Midatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are here live on Zoom with 129 people. If you'd like to join us here on Zoom, you can do it. Just email Mara, wisdomofthesages108 @gmail.com, and you can join our family here. Thanks for everybody also listening abroad. Please let us know you're out there. The others, the people who listen on a regular basis, and we have no idea they're out there stalking around listening to us. It's always weird, the others, when we get these messages from the others, isn't it, Mara?
It's not weird,
like,
Raghunath. It's
You
quite
don't think it's
normal.
weird? I guess it's normal, but it's weird because I feel like, well, these are the people I know. But then someone else, no, I listen every day. I feel like that's weird. It's almost like someone's watching you.
No, it's not like that. It's
They're
people who are
special. I want to
listening.
give some love to the others. Okay, so we're all gearing up for the Wisdom of the Sages retreat this weekend. Rachel and Jeff's wedding this weekend. It's going to be power packed, and there's no class on Sunday, and we're still thinking about what's going on Saturday. So just putting that out there. We are in Canto 2, Chapter 6, and Text 39. We just had Brahma speaking to Narada. Narada's his son. I guess everybody in one sense is Brahma's son, but
Well, the grandson, granddaughter, great. But
yeah,
but Narada is his direct son.
direct son. Okay, text 39. The Supreme Original Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, expanded his plenary portion as Mahavishnu, the first incarnation. He creates this manifested cosmos, but he is unborn. The creation, however, takes place in him, and the material substance and manifestation are all himself. He maintains them for some time and absorbs them into himself again. So if you're thinking this creation myth or this creation story is so far-fetched, how about this one? I mentioned this yesterday on Sweet Baby Krishna. But how about this one? Everything came from an explosion. Everything came from nothing. What? Talk about a creation myth. Everything came from nothing. Variety, music, sound, love, emotion, color, peacocks, that all came from nothing. That's a creation. That's a fantastic creation story. Continue
Yeah.
I was waiting for you to be like, yeah, Raghunath, you tell him. And you're like, golf clap.
No, I mean, I'm with you, Raghunath. I'm with you. I believe that, I believe that it certainly makes more sense that where we see such sophisticated creation, there has to be a sophisticated creator. That's all.
Yeah. Strangely enough, Sweet Baby Krishna focused on this very same points yesterday.
Well, it's an important point.
Okay.
But, the thing is this, and this may become a theme as we read these next few verses, is that why are some people inclined to believe, in my mind, if you ask me, you can't move through this world and observe nature and so on without intuiting that there's an intelligence behind it all.
Intuiting?
Yes. But other people are inclined to deny that, to disagree with that. And I think, what's going to be mentioned here actually is that our desires get in the way. It's just a principle, right? That our desires will get in the way of us perceiving what is true.
Mm.
Or understanding what is, recognizing what is untrue.
Mm.
And I'd imagine, raising kids, you see that, right?
I used
this
I hit it on the
head
yesterday. I used this example
No
yesterday.
kidding. No
If
kidding.
you have a teenager, everybody's got a teenager knows a story. You're telling your teenager, okay, you're going to a party tonight. Now listen, never get in a car with somebody who's drinking alcohol. Never get in that car. I'll come and pick you up. Don't worry. It won't be weird. I'll wait down the block if you're embarrassed by me. You say these things to teenagers just to keep them safe. It's like the most sanguine, most powerful, the most important instruction you can give a teenager. What does the teenager say? Yeah, well, whatever. Yeah, don't worry. I'm cool. I got it. I got this. Don't sweat it. Don't bother me. I'm good. You're not good. You're a dumb teenager. You're not listening to anything I say. So once there's this type of self-importance, arrogance, I got this, you shut off hearing truth. You shut off getting knowledge. You shut off getting mercy. The window closes tight. And that's why Krishna, who is actually a being, he's not just a figure, a cartoon figure in the sky that you pray to, or a stone statue. He's actually a reciprocal being that he approaches you as you approach him. And when you approach in a type of humility, you can hear channels open up for that Maha download that you can get from Sri Krishna, who's ready to give you information, give you direction, give you inspiration, be your internal GPS, and have this deep affection, like you were saying the other day, how he's like your best friend. Surita Sarva.
Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam.
Thank you. So he is there, but if we can't approach like, I got this. The mood is humble. We don't got anything. We all seem stable. Everything's fine. And then the rug gets pulled out from under us. It's not just Gopal Chandra's facing this. We're all facing this. And if you're not facing it, I got news for you. It's around the corner, because that's what happens when you get a material body. You get the rug pulled out from underneath your stability, because we are eternal beings and we feel that, but we're in a temporary world, and it's constantly tapping us on the shoulder. Don't forget, it's temporary. And so this is at the forefront of our mind, and our humility that we don't got this, that we are dependent beings. That leaves room for Krishna to start giving these magical downloads.
Well, I think the next verse is going to talk about that. The ability to receive the download.
It's getting magical here. The personality of Godhead is pure, being free from all contaminations and material tinges. He is the absolute truth and the embodiment of the full and perfect knowledge. He is all-pervading, without beginning or end, and without rival.
Okay, so this is all, establishing.
That's a good one right there, without rival.
Yeah. Okay. But, this is all going back to the beginning when Narada misidentified the creator as being Brahma, right? I mean, Brahma is one level of creation, but are you the original creator? Is there someone behind you? He asks, because it appears like you are. Is that clear perception, or is that limited perception? Is there a broader perception that I'm meant to perceive this with? And so it's saying, no, there's someone behind me. He's entirely pure, untouched by the influence of this material energy. He's the absolute truth. He's the full embodiment of knowledge. He's all pervading, without beginning or end, and without rival. I don't rival him in creation, right? Even Brahma saying, right? It appears like I'm without, no, he's without rival. But now this part's really interesting, Rogue. Read on.
O Narada, O great sage, the great thinkers can know him when completely freed from all material hankerings. Hankerings cover our desires. I mean, hankering, material desires cover the download.
Yeah.
And then when sheltered under undisturbed conditions of the senses. Let me do that again. Oh, great sage, the great thinkers can know him when completely freed from all material hankerings, and when sheltered under undisturbed conditions of the senses. The senses stir it up. They stir up the mind.
They stir it up.
Otherwise, by untenable arguments, all is distorted, and the Lord disappears from our sight.
Now, so let's focus on this part of the verse, right?
Otherwise, untenable arguments, all is distorted, and the Lord disappears from our sight.
Yeah. Untenable. What does untenable mean?
Mara, unbreakable?
I think it means like unsupportable, like arguments that that can't be supported. I think it means like that.
Listen here, Mara.
Not able to be maintained or defended against attack or objection.
There you go.
Mary, you got these guys like waiting with their hands on Wikipedia. They're waiting. I'm going to ask you a question, and they're right on this Zoom board. And they're like, "This is the answer." It's like beat Mara to the answer. Have you noticed that's going on? No snoozing, Mara. You gotta be like this with your fingers ready on the keyboard, like this.
You're not without rival, Mara. Don't forget that.
These guys, every person on Zoom, all 132 members on Zoom are going after your position.
So this is talking about the qualification of understanding truth. We're all in this universe. We should all be trying to make sense of it, right?
We should all be trying to understand, how does this work, and what is my role in it, and what does it all mean? And if we're going to perceive that, it's saying that you aren't truly objective. Like, in other words, we need to be objective to understand the truth, right? If we have some motive going into it, generally that tends to cloud it. So, scientists pride themselves in being objective, right? If we're real scientists, if we're doing an experiment here, we need to be objective. And so it's saying here that when great thinkers can know him when completely freed from all material hankerings, and when sheltered under undisturbed conditions of the senses. If my senses are pulling me one way, if my mind is full of material hankerings, then it's being said right here in Bhagavatam that is going to cloud our perception. It's going to, that download of full knowledge, it'll come through a filter and get like warped in some way, right?
I mean, that's one of those classic wisdom of the sages sayings. When we are driven by our senses, then we indulge in something from our senses, and then we're left that famous mantra, what have I done? What did I just do? What have I done? Why did I eat that? Why did I do that? Why did I go there? Why did I hang out with them? What have I done? And this type of built-in like regret that we get. Why? Because those desires cover our truth, or cover truth. But that's something I feel like I experience this realization on a regular basis.
Well, let's read a little of the commentary here. Only the prashantas. What is a prashanta, Raghunath? Put you on the hot seat.
Prashanta, Mara?
No. We're swinging it back. Prashanta.
Prashanta.
There's a Bhagavad-gita with a verse with
Prashant.
that.
Oh yeah, Prashant. Peaceful.
Well,
Peaceful?
there you go. Yeah, someone that's peaceful, right? Yeah.
What's the verse in Bhagavad-gita with Prashanta?
It's slipping my mind right now. What is it? Prasanatma. No, I'm thinking of Prasanatma. That's what I'm thinking of. Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma. Nasochati Nakankshati. Samasardesha Bhute Sumad Bhaktim Lavate Param. Right. All right. Look that one up.
I need some good more trivia for my kids on the ride to school.
So
every day is trivia day.
Okay, got it. Only the Prashantas. I want to get involved in that trivia day with you, Raghunath, and like fight.
When you come up here, go right for my son Rocco and just start to try to nail him.
No, I don't want to nail him. I want to compete with him for the Maha Sweets.
For the Maha Sweets, okay.
Yeah,
I'll offer a lot of sweets that day.
See if I can be like Kramer, like fighting the little kids in martial arts. Like if I get real intensely competitive with them.
Me and Kaustubha have nothing but Seinfeld references, and find somehow a Krishna conscious lesson in it.
There's so many to be learned.
You just gotta know where to look.
Only the Prashantas, or the unalloyed devotees of the Lord. Unalloyed, right? It's like their devotion is not mixed with material desires. Unalloyed.
It's not an alloy.
Yeah.
That's what alloyed means.
Thank you. Only Prashantas, or the unalloyed devotees of the Lord, can know him to a greater extent. The reason is that the devotees have no demands in their lives, but to be obedient servants of the Lord, while all others, namely the empiric philosophers, the mystics, and the fruitive workers. So the Sanskrit terms for those would be the empiric philosophers.
Mara. Empiric philosopher.
Mayavadi?
Gyana.
Oh, Gyana.
Let's say the Gyanis. Yeah, right, the Gyanis.
Okay.
The mystics.
Siddhis?
You probably would generally say the yogis.
Siddhis. Because it's hard in this in modern world, because the yogis out there now, it's not like Lori Pag is like, okay, we're doing levitation today, and then we're going to do Prapti Siddhi. People are generally teaching pranayam, asana, but generally the yogis are going for the siddhis. They want the mystical powers.
And then the fruitive workers are called?
Karmis?
The karmis. So sometimes Prabhupada's alluding, and there's a certain construct here. He said it in English. He could have said the Gyanis, the yogis, and the karmis. And of course, these terms are used in different ways. So like yogi, he might use in a different way. But here he's saying a yogi. These are three categories of people that have desires separate from pure devotion, right? So he says all basically have some demand, and as such, they cannot be pacified. They cannot be peaceful. And this, of course, is going to that famous verse, Raghu, I know you know it, so I'm going to just team you up here.
Get me.
Go for it. What's the verse?
Krishna Bhakti Niskama Sakala. This one.
That's the one.
Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Sakalaya Shanta.
Yeah.
That if you want Shanta, if you want peace in this world, you've got to get rid of these desires that come from these other yoga processes. If you want mukti, that means you're still wanting. If you want bhukti, if you want to enjoy the material world, if you want mystical powers, whenever you say I want, you don't have it, and therefore you're disturbed. But Krishna Bhakti, what's the only want in Krishna Bhakti? The want is, what do you want from me?
You want, right.
And, once you get to that place where you can wake up in the morning, like my dear little daughter just woke up. When you wake up in the morning and say, Krishna, today my life is yours. What do you want from me? I have an agenda, but I'm going to defer to your agenda for me. Today, whatever you want, I'm going to accept that as your divine plan. Yeah. I'm going to try my hardest, like it's in my hands, but ultimately I know everything that's going to happen is in your hands. What would you like from me today? If you can say that on a regular basis, you've already started to taste liberation. You've already attained mukti because right?
Yeah. Yeah, you could. It's not uncommon within yoga circles to find an explanation that's saying, unless our mind is settled, we can't absorb it deeply in spiritual thought, in meditation. But here it's even saying, unless your mind is settled, unless you've let go of your desires, let go of the need to manipulate the material energy for your sense gratification, unless you've done that, you're not going to perceive things correctly. You're not going to understand your place in the universe and how it all works, because you're confused and driven by those desires. So Prabhupada continues, the fruit of worker wants, the karmi, the fruit of worker wants reward for his work. The mystic, the yogi, wants some perfection of life. And by that he means to be able to levitate, to be able to read minds, to be able to manipulate people's, those mystic cities that exist. That's Rose.
That's what I want.
That's what I want. And the empiric philosopher wants to merge in the existence of the Lord. Okay, so the Jnani is commonly wanting to merge into the Brahmajyoti. Somehow or other, as long as there is a demand for sense satisfaction, there is no chance for pacification, for peace of mind. On the contrary, by unnecessary dry speculative arguments, the whole matter becomes distorted. And thus the Lord moves still further away from our understanding. Right. So I just want peace. I don't want devotion. I don't want any superior creator or God above me. I have my speculative arguments, my jnanic arguments to kind of deny the existence of a creator. And that's the point that we're saying here, is that our desires, they influence us. They prevent us from making sense of the universe. They get in the way. They block our clear path to making sense of our place in the universe. And they influence us to either misidentify the creator or to remove the creator from the picture. Right? Here we're here. Yeah. And so Prabhupada says here, he's speaking about those that remove him from the picture, even in the name of jnana or the name of yoga.
Mara, were we not talking about this last night? Were we not talking about this?
It's
that
true.
We just remove Krishna. we
from the picture.
We use this
sweet little
example.
Baby. Just move him over.
We moved Krishna.
Take him up.
Well, what we did, we said like, okay, me and Lyra Juno, we're going to have a party at Mara's house, but we're not going to invite Mara. And we're going to invite everybody on Zoom over to Mara's. We're going to say, help yourself, go swimming in the pool. We got the refrigerator stacked, packed with food. It's like, we want to enjoy, and people are like, hey, this is a great place you got. Yeah, thanks. I love it. Yeah, enjoy
But somebody's
yourself.
saying, but what about Mara? It's like, this is her place. She created it for us.
No,
right?
Don't mention Mara. Don't bring her up.
No, there is no Mara.
There's all these fine baked goods here. Yeah. Where did they come from? They just came here. This is us. We want the resources of the material world. We want to enjoy the material world, but we don't want to give any credit to the source of everything that we're enjoying. It's almost like, and we see this in yoga circles too. It's like, we want, like there's this infamous yoga studio in Venice, California, if it still exists. It used to say something like yoga and spinning, no mantras, no gurus, no chanting. That was like their subtitle. And I used to be like, no mantras, no gurus, no chanting, no yoga. No, right? It's like, It's like we you know, this Krishna guy you talk about, the guy who actually first, like, you know, coined the spiritual phrase yoga, you know, the guy who's called Yogeshwar Krishna, that Krishna, we're kicking him out of yoga. We're kicking Krishna out of the yoga class. I'm like, come on, you can't right?
That is the definition of appropriation right there. You know?
That's full on appropriation.
Yeah.
We're going to take everything of your culture except the culture, and we're just going to insert our American culture in it. That's cultural appropriation. I said the same thing last night.
Okay. So Prabhupada continues, or he said, somehow or other, as long as there is a demand for sense satisfaction, there's no chance of pacification, that peaceful mind. On the contrary, by unnecessary, dry, speculative arguments, the whole matter becomes distorted. There is no Mara. We are all Mara.
We're all Mara. I'm Mara. You're Mara. Mara's food is us.
It's our food. We created.
She's not well. She even came to the door. We're like, you're not welcome here.
Yeah,
it's my house.
You're not welcome here. And this food, actually, the food doesn't exist. But eat it anyway. But it doesn't exist here.
That's actually what's going on.
That's what's going on. So he says the whole matter becomes distorted, and thus the Lord moves still further away from our understanding. Then you'll never understand Mara that way. The dry speculators, however, because of their following the principles of austerity and penance, they are doing some kind of practices with, you know, with some intensity. They can have knowledge of the impersonal features of the Lord to some extent.
Sure.
But there's no chance of their understanding his ultimate form as sweet baby Krishna, Govinda. As Govinda.
Like you see the loaf of bread she baked, you smell it. Oh, wow, natural ingredients. I see the ingredients in the closet. It's like the energy of Mara is in the home, but there's no concept of form.
Yeah, it's like if we walked in and we took over Mara's house and we said, this food is here because of Mara. But we were speaking of Mara as just like some kind of principle that exists. Like there's not a person Mara. And actually you are Mara and I am Mara. And we just have to rediscover that we are all Mara.
We just forgot that we are Mara.
But Mara's like knocking on the door. No, I go.
She's on the window. Hi, Mara. It's my house. You're not paying the mortgage. It's a good analogy. It's a good analogy.
It's working. I'm liking it.
It's interesting how you can even have a secular society or a secular thought. Like you're just keeping God out of the picture. But God is the very resting place of all of us and everything that we do. It's just a whole different paradigm shift.
Okay. Now, again, Prabhupada's saying, the dry speculators, however, because of their following the principles of austerity and penance, they can have knowledge of the impersonal, the non-personal features of the Lord to some extent. But there's no chance of their understanding his ultimate form as Govinda because only the Amalatmanas. What's it? Amala Atma. What is mala?
Garland.
Or not mala.
Or disease.
Well, you're getting closer with disease. It can be disease.
Oh yeah, so he's not. So those who live forever, Amala, right? Those who are never diseased, they're eternal beings.
No. Well, mala can mean like also like it can mean like disease, or it can mean like dirt or some kind of contamination.
Like Spanish, malo.
Oh, you see, connections, making connections.
Latin.
So then Amala, like we call what is the Bhagavatam?
Oh yeah, I mean the Bhagavatam is called the Amala Purana, the spotless. It's without any fault. Without any fault,
without any dirt, without any spot on it.
Does
no stain.
Does anybody know that? Does everybody know that this book? The book that we're studying is also called the Amala Purana. I mean, it's spotless out of all the Puranas because the real teaching is the teaching of Bhakti. That's the ultimate place where we're going with this is Bhakti.
Well, it's so appropriate right now because the point is other parts of the broader Vedic literature speak to the karmi, the yogi, the jnani. Right. So if I want material things in this world, the Vedas are there to help me do that. If I want to merge into the oneness, the Upanishads may be my focus. But here, in the Bhagavatam, it's the Amala Purana. It's not even going to encourage you to do those things at all. Those can be stepping stones to move towards pure devotion, but the Bhagavatam is nothing but pure devotion. It's the Amala Purana.
For those who study yoga, Kaustubha is like really painting it out very clearly. Sometimes when people study yoga, they'll walk into like a yoga bookstore. You ever have those in your town? A yoga bookstore, and it has all these books on
East West.
Yeah, East West. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I used to go. And Weiser's in New York. Do you remember Weiser's?
Oh, I don't
like
know.
23rd Street. It was really cool.
Some Weiser's.
Wisers. But anyway, these were like these mystic books. And then there was this other witch one.
Here we go.
Yeah, the witch stuff.
What titles did Raghunath pick up there?
My point is, it's very confusing. The yoga, if you study just broadly without teachers, you can get a book on karma yoga. You can get a book on jnana yoga. You can get a book, and they almost seem to like oppose each other. And it's going back to these teenager analogies. Imagine if you have like 5 obedient teenagers that are your children.
5 obedient teenagers.
3 obedient teenagers. Let's say 3 obedient teenagers. And you say, listen, you're going to go to a party tonight. I don't want any of you guys drinking alcohol. Okay. You're going to a party. Alcohol can cause problems. You can get a car accident. People do crazy things when they're having alcohol. But this one insists, no, I'm going to drink. I'm just going to tell you right now, Dad, I'm going to drink. So what you do is you regulate their drinking. Okay, listen, you're going to drink. As soon as you get there, that's when you drink. And because later on, if you're going to drive home, it's going to be problematic. You drink, you make sure you have some food with it, and it's one drink. So you're giving a concession. It's not the highest thing. It's a concession because that person is attached.
They're attached. Yeah, exactly.
They're attached. And due to their desire, it's sealing off them from hearing the absolute spiritual download. The analogies are all connecting to Kaustubha.
Okay. I like it, Raghunath. I like it. Yeah. So those are steps. But the Amala Purana, the spotless Purana, is not going to deal with those steps. It's like, because that's what happens at the beginning of Bhagavatam is Narada sitting there feeling dissatisfied. Vyasadeva is feeling dissatisfied. He's written all the Vedic literature, but he's still dissatisfied. Narada shows up. The reason you're dissatisfied is because you've been dwelling on all these steps, but you haven't given the spotless Purana, the pure bhakti. You got to give him that, right?
The interesting thing is the followers benefit, of course, from hearing that spiritual truth about the form of Krishna, but the speaker also benefits. Vyasadeva is also benefiting, like you're saying.
Yeah. So now let's get right back where we were. He was saying that the dry speculators, they can get some knowledge of the non-personal aspect of the Lord, but they can't understand the ultimate form of the Lord Govinda, from which it all comes from, right? And why is that? Because only the Amalatmanas, those souls that are spotless, you could say, those souls that have no material desires, those souls that aren't clouded by their material desires, or now Prabhupada says it like this, or the completely sinless persons, right? Those who, you see, because again, we could translate sinless as like we got a load of bad karma, right? We behaved in ways where we tried to separate ourselves from source, right? From source. Yeah.
Mayor, I'm feeling like Kaustubha may be an Amalatmana.
I'm not an Amalatmana.
Yes.
I'm serious.
Don't throw that out there, Raghunath. You're far more the Amalatmana than me. But
I am Amalatmana.
You're an Amalatmana.
An Amalatmana.
Sounds like a creature in South America, something like that. Yeah, the Amalatmana. So the Amalatmana, we can say they're sinless, meaning because they've let go of their material desires, they haven't created bad karma, which further clouds your understanding. That's what the worst aspect of bad karma is. Not that you feel like I hit someone over the head, so I get hit over the head. The worst part of it is it clouds your thinking, it clouds your truth perception, right? So when we're operating in this world without material desire, when we're in Amalatmana, then we can perceive things as they are. So he says only the Amalatmanas, or the completely sinless person, can accept pure devotional service of the Lord, rather than karma, rather than jnana, rather than mystic yoga. As confirmed in Bhagavad-gita 7:28, Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta Bhajante mam drida vrataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives, right? People that are acting in connection with the truth. People that are tied in, right? Connected to source.
Say this verse again in English. This is a good one.
Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions, their bad karma, is completely eradicated. They are freed from the dualities of delusion. This will make me happy. That'll make me happy, right? Dualities of delusion. And thus they engage themselves in my service with drita vrataha. What does that mean, Mara? Drita vrata, do you know? Vrata means?
What's a vrata?
A vow?
Yes. So can you guess what drita vrata means?
No.
They act in drita vrata.
It means like a strong vow, like a determined vow. So
that's
again,
the last verse of the 7th chapter, right?
728. Yeah. So again, here it's like we can have true perception, and based on true perception, we can focus. What is that verse in Bhagavad-gita? Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam taya prahita chetasam vyavasayatmaka buddhir samadhau navatiyate. The samadhi.
No samadhau for you.
No samadhi for you, right? There's
No
another
samadhi
Seinfeld.
for you.
Another Seinfeld reference. Samadhi Nazi.
No samadhi for you.
So Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam, those who are attached to material opulence, right? Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam. Bhoga, material enjoyment, and Aishvarya, opulence, right? They become confused by that. They become bewildered by that. But Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam naya prahita chetasam. Vyavasayatmaka buddhir. They cannot develop that one point of determination to be fixed in bhakti. Right? And so samadha navatiyate, so they can never have samadhi. They can never have an even, peaceful, deeply absorbed mind.
That is a great verse, huh? Let's say that again. Say that whole verse again in English, just so people can just. It's a good verse.
Well, let me pull it up so I make sure I get the translation correctly.
Wait, I bet I have that going to roll off my tongue. In the minds of those who are attached to, I'm just saying.
That's right. You got it. Yeah. In the minds of those who are too
attached to material opulence and sense gratification, the resolute determination for devotional service does not take place.
That's right. Yeah, it's still there. It's still there.
Still there in this old mind to mind. Great verse.
It's a great verse. Yeah, that's the beginning where Krishna is really laying out to Arjuna. Hey, even what's taught in the Vedas, the 4 Vedas, you need to let go of that. Don't move through this world thinking of what's going to materially make me happy, what's not going to materially make me happy. People are confused by this. They get absorbed in the promises of material opulence. And then you know what? You lose your true perception, you lose your peace, and you ultimately, the samadhi, forget about it.
Man.
Not going to happen.
I just looked at the clock. I was like, man.
We're over.
That's it. That's the show today. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And there's a lot of new people out there. If you're new, what? How many people? 120 something. Listen, if you're new out there and you haven't wrote into Apple Podcasts and shared your little story with us, go to Apple Podcasts, write a review, tell us your story, that you're an other, that you're a Zoomer, and let us know that you care. Thank you very much. Thanks for Gopal Chandra. Gopal Prabhu, you and your family are in our prayers. We love you. We are your community, and we're here for you. And anybody going through things, write us in. We're here for support. That's what communities do.
Speaking of community, Mara, what's happening in the Patreon community?
Yeah, what's happening
today?
with the Patreon community today, Mara?
All right, we got Stacy Cabrera teaching at 6:30 a.m.
She's empowered.
Yep, Kumiji is teaching tonight at 6 p.m. And there's a Bhakti Recovery Group meeting today at 1 p.m.
1 p.m. Okay. It's a big thing. If you want to join that, you know what to do. Patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. That's it, everybody.
Time to dance.
Radhe.